to the water we return, to the sea we return, to our mother we return, to be. I return to the water. I return to the sea. I return to our mother. Return to me. Traversing the city, a poetic walking tour. We begin by listening to the rain blessing, cleansing the city, redirecting our compasses, our curated plans, a thickening mist shawl falling over Gogo Hurikwaho's shoulders. Her ancient rock slopes and ledges, glistening wet with streams, wending their way down towards soil. Sinking deep beneath brick tar concrete, we from 14 countries circling at her feet, surrendering. We surrender. Our projections, our expectations, anger, anticipation, hoping we'd have this walk through historical pathways, a matrix of streets, now called to ground indoors, to ground inside a carpeted cocoon, rounding the sharp corners of a rectangular room. 4 medicine women poets invoke ancestral spirit. Inextricable human-earth connection intentionally disturb the surface of assumptions, peel back the gloss of fixed frames, neat narratives, allowing breathing in to multiplicities, in between spaces, allowing the breath, inviting the possibility, the vulnerability of those sore edges of our stories. We are inviting the resounding truths across timelines, time zones, bringing all our bodies home, home to breath, stillness, shifting intention, from mind to muscle, boned senses, resting our aching, tender, or tired feet, our souls as we slow down. As we slow down, this listening portal grows. Somehow, we all know something sacred is unfolding. Our navigations turn inward. We are moving toward memory landscapes, cellular archives, resonating vessels responding to the call, the pull, the music, the touch, the arrow, the doorway, the pull, the invitation of deep time, of poetry. be denied. You are a river that will not be denied. A daughter, a son, born to return. And Father Sky, Mother Sea, remembers each one's name. Alone on our path, great or small, essentially, eventually, oh, the Day one, brave researcher, poet. You know now, the damaged tree grows anyway. Poetry is a way to remember yourself, finding the bridges against the fragments, the shattering, where remembering is first for you, then for an audience. Presence, resilience, revealing the patterns, the resonances between us. We choose what we omit, what we choose to keep, need not be buried as marginalia. You deserve the peace, the space, the joy beyond the rupture of trauma. Release through this flow, this body knowing, this word, sound, image, metaphor, repetition, this silence medicine. You deserve this liberation. Yes, yes. Every story knows its teller. Every story has its time. Yours and mine has its place and time. Every story knows its teller. Yes, every story has its time. Yours and mine has its place and time. It's time. Hey, it's time. It's time. Tea break, quick chat, toilet stop, laptop, notepad drop. Minutes outside, under sky, for a puff or a sigh, out in the sun or to catch a breeze on the deck. Inhale, exhale, laugh, sigh, digest, reflect, replenish, redirect. Bing, time's up, all set. Session, paper, partner, pen, screen, mic, sound, check. Past the chandelier, past the chandelier, luxury, three-tiered design. This space with its marble steps into an empty room, a circle of chairs, yet just for one. The next virtual session has begun. Somewhat surreal, I am in Nigeria, in a field with a West African brother educator, through poetry calling in his shifting relationship with his family, environment, childhood memories, of his trailing ambivalence toward the local swamp, water snake threats to curb bedwetting children, palm wine to increase breast milk, indigenous mythologies and stories once discarded, now reclaimed for current curriculum, for transgenerational nutrition. I smell the reeds in the wind. I feel the coolness of their roots submerged in the water. The simultaneous fullness, emptiness of this moment, with me lost in a projected slide image across our continent, affirming our breathing together, even when we cannot see or feel or even directly hear each other. Swift shift, left depth, cross invisible border, surreal flip from Calabar, Nigeria to Texas, America, roots in Louisiana. Close attention to the mothers, the daughters, the always unsafe for being Black young learners. We collectively hop on their rapid thought train, personal insider, outsider, queer mama researcher, haikus for a Black academic woman's inherited wisdom. Who is at this well? Where is your well? Insider, outsider, queer mama researcher, these haikus are for you. My body needs sleep. I can hear the waters call, always my way home. A room thick with words, once spoken, some unheard. I listen, I learn. I came here to play, find breathing space in this place. Now full to the brim. We let go of time, dabble with image and rhyme, permission to be. Graceful and light-bearing, she quivers at the mic, almost apologizes for being green, emerging possibly the youngest academic researcher in the room, stuns us into silence with her birth story. The biological defects, those specifics dubbed defect, disability. Yet anyone can hear and see. She is a beam of wisdom, courageous vulnerability, articulating my body listens differently, questioning through her childhood, family, raw marrow poetry, how to carry your own stubborn bones, grasping how your bones breathe even when you don't. I find myself holding my breath, forgetting to exhale with her as she skillfully moves through and concludes, showered with sighs and praise, and after we circle her with interest, with affirmation, she sparkles with aliveness, punctuates with laughter. Another sister unshackles herself from academic restraints. Feeling the unseating of her own narratives, she finds herself exposed in her own text, loosening factual frames, ethically yet playfully through poetry, and less obedient topography. The Eastern Cape landscape shifts from essays haunting 1990s, conspiracies, and orchestrated third force atrocities to the lingering inequity, injustice, legacies, land restoration, opportunities. The land and the language of the land, the mother and her tongue, motherland tones, lengthening shadows, calling for us, a listening deeper than data, the difference between our choices when to stay silent, misunderstandings, the assumption of consent, this silence, eroding faith in the process, echoing previous promises, the language and the land, the language of the land, underground currents of emotion, fleshing out the bones of English words. Hey, isikosa voicing, lyricism, repetition, unearthing more questions. The pursuit of a wider truth, the capturer discovers her heart's ears can clarify, realign intentions, ground authentic conversation. This is how we inquirers weave, getting to know each other at the frequency of soul. KwaZulu, Gazal firekeepers, for 8 years nurture a dream seed in honor of Ubaba Mazizi Gunene's legacy, a global invitation to extend and thread beyond the local, beyond our comfort zones, in what feels like an easy leap, in a blink. We are in the presence of 2 Nepali daughters, daughters who flew 20 hours from Kathmandu to Cape Town, opening their offering with intimate unwrapping of the roots, yes, the roots of their names. And the journey from Mount Everest to here, while Urdu, English, French, and isiZulu, poetic phrases still reverberating in our ears. Luminous lines fall softly from Parvati and Roshani's lips. The light and the rock embedded in my being. We feel the mountain is trying to connect us through the sea. Flipping the script on gender binaries, reminding us Parvati and Roshani, we are infinite. Infinite consciousness, integrated, unbound by our bodies, by physical form. Parvati, Roshani. So much we need to unlearn, yet can just as easily retell. We are each other's mirrors. We have simply forgotten ourselves. The light and the rock embedded in my being. We feel the mountain is trying to connect us our infinite, integrated consciousness, unbound by our bodies, by physical form.
So, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Just another round of applause for Malika and Lodi. So Malika's poem anchors the beginning and the end of this Voices Unbound anthology, and she and Lodi did their magic in trying to recreate that first part of the poem, putting Malika's words to music. So a very warm welcome to all of you, those of you in the room here in Cape Town, and those of you online in offices, homes, and soft places around the globe. We're going to ask our online participants just to say hello, maybe to come off their videos. And if we can just ask them, hello, say where you from.
Hello.
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 Wonderful. Let's see the second page. Hello, hello. Hello, Sharon Grusendorf. Hello, Raphael Zetti. Hello, Angela. Hello. Welcome.
Hello, Heidi.
Hello. Hello. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome, everyone. It's really wonderful to see dear familiar faces again and some new ones. And we are thrilled that you could all join us for the launch today. I welcome you on behalf of the HSRC with partners from UKZN DUT and DUT, who formed the incredible steering committee for the International Symposium on Poetic Inquiry 2022. We're also known as the Consortium on Advancing Poetic Inquiry in the Global South. I know, quite a mouthful of a name. I'll say more about it later. With me in the room today, Angela Huff, Bridget Prince, and online, Raphael Dabdon, Dudu Ndlovu, Kathleen Pithouse-Morgan, Mari Petey, and Yvonne Sleep, and also part of our team, Kirsten Dean and Marilyn Couch. Those are the consortium members. In May 2022, we gathered in Cape Town for the 8th International Symposium on Poetic Inquiry, the very first time on African soil since its inception in 2007. And what brought us together was this appreciation and growing application of the use of poetry as in for research across disciplines, across the North and the South. We are delighted that just over a year later, we're able to celebrate one of 3 outputs emerging from that conference. A scholarly book currently in press with HSRC Publishing, a How to Do Poetic Inquiry book commissioned by Bristol University Press, and this book, Voices Unbound, an anthology of poems from that conference. Well, the plans always included a scholarly book. You know, academics and researchers have to do a scholarly book, so our plans always included that. The decision to produce the anthology was not of our making. In fact, it was of yours. It was not of our making, it was of yours. old hands, newbies, all curious about words, poetry, creativity, art, its power to connect, evoke, question about whose and what knowing and learning matters, who or what is silenced, whose voices are amplified, and how these are lived in our bodies. So something quite special happened at that conference. As we engaged through plenary talks and poetry performances, oral presentations, workshops, open mics, spaces for mindfulness and quiet, believe it or not, reflecting, listening, and talking. All of that space created impactful, we think, opportunity for soul, for reflexivity. We think that space, unbound voices, new and old, that compelled us to gather them into an anthology. We hope the anthology will give longevity to not only the poems, but also the spirit of ISPI 2022. We hope that the poems, as you read them and go through them, as you experience some of them tonight, will motivate and inspire us to keep developing our craft, to keep doing this work, and to invite others who may be curious or interested to do the same. As I near to a close, I'd like to return for a minute to this mouthful of a name we've given ourselves, the Consortium on Advancing Poetic Inquiry in the Global South. This group of academics and practitioners from different fields and institutions, who through their teaching, practice, research, education, supervision, and academic work, are committed to using poetry as research in research, at various stages of that research process, to inquire into a particular topic, to use it to analyze data, to use it to disseminate, to make our research and our academic outputs much more accessible, much more visible, much more translatable. So this group, many things I think unite us. Maybe wearing yellow might be one of the colors today. Ange and I are the only two that got the memo, but we're yellow today. So many things unite us, but perhaps above all of these, what connects us is a shared belief in poetry and poetic inquiry as powerful decolonial. Unites us is a shared belief in poetry and poetic inquiry as powerful decolonial tools. Decoloniality, not an easy word. Decoloniality, not an easy word to say, to hear. Decolonization talks about shifts of power, political or physical, between colonizing powers and their subjects. We talk about decolonizing land, space, knowledge, disciplines, methodologies. Perhaps the word is overused. Perhaps it's cliched. But I think it remains important still. The word evokes all kinds of reactions: shame, defensiveness, discomfort, fear. I want to ask you to go beyond some of those well-worn meanings and reactions and stay with us and tell us and stay with us as we tell you why, as we advance the work of poetic inquiry in the Global South, why we are committed to decoloniality. So this is a mouthful of a word. We use it, we think of words, knowledge, actions, heart, the practice of poetry. When we use this word, it means we are honoring the groundbreaking work in poetic inquiry from the Global North and bringing this into conversation with the unique contributions from us in the Global South. When we use this word, it means for us inclusivity. It acknowledges that by honoring both, by honoring all, it also means pushing against the boundaries of dominant knowledge frameworks, pushing against the boundaries of dominant knowledge frameworks, often coming from the developed world, and valuing other ways of knowing from the South. So it's a valuing of both, valuing other ways of knowing of the South, like indigenous knowledge systems, folklore, oral traditions, that have existed for eternity, and that actually may have been silenced and forgotten. We want to honor all of those. decentering the all-knowing academic voice, decentering the all-knowing academic, honoring lived realities, multiple perspectives, marginalized or excluded. It means for us putting down our masks, whatever the mask is that we wear. It means we engage in inquiry with ourselves, our lives, our work, participants and colleagues. It means we write ourselves into texts as vulnerable and complex human beings. It means we write ourselves into texts as vulnerable and complex human beings. When we do this, not only is the knowledge we produce better, but so are we. Not only is our knowledge better, but so are we. Decoloniality for us means engaging with the complexities, the contradictions, the paradoxes of this time and of ourselves. If we honor not this or that, yes or no, black or white, but both and, or some other way entirely. If we honor not this or that, yes or no, black or white, but both and, or some other way entirely. If we navigate mystery, rescue little ideas that gleam for a second in our soul, then disappear, coax them back. If we behold each other and the world with wonder and curiosity, we make space for the miraculous, for grace. If we behold each other and the world with wonder and curiosity, we make space for the miraculous, for grace. It's a big clunky name, big aspirations. We'd like to believe we create moments for these decolonial principles and practices to thrive. We'd like to think we created some of that at ISPI 2022, in the series of workshops we ran around the country after that, developing a curriculum on how to do poetic inquiry. And we hope that this book is another expression of it. We commit ourselves to the ongoing expression of this. We hope that we remain open and humble to this call, to this ongoing work of using poetry in our research to make ourselves and the worlds we inhabit better. So thank you very much, everyone. We're going to take a few words now from editor extraordinaire. Patricia Patch, thank you for that name, Galen. I didn't know she was called Patch, but Patricia Patch Schonstein from Africa Sun Press is going to say a few words. Over to you, Patricia.
So the program says a word from, but you said a few words, so I'll say a few words. Thank you, Heidi, first, for inviting Galen and I to put the anthology together. It was a great privilege to do so. Anthologizing is a very intimate, personal experience because the poets come in as individuals, but as the editor, as the person putting the anthology together, you're seeing everybody. You're seeing all the hearts, all the souls, all the sorrows, all the joys. So it's an extreme privilege. It creates a growing platform for the person putting it all together. So I thank all the poets as well. There's a sense of entering a room where people first came in and did not know each other. But by the time the anthology was done, I realized everyone must have left as very good friends. Brave poems, deep poems, honest poems, and open poems is how I summarize the work. I'm going to read two poems. Oopsie. From Malika. One is by Nicole Brown, and it's called Imagine. Imagine. Imagine you have the flu, but on top of that you get sunburned. You fall down a flight of stairs. You haven't slept for 36 hours. Your brain feels like it's packed in cotton. You forget simple sequences like putting toothpaste on the toothbrush before you brush your teeth. But your work requires you to be coherent, functional, brainy. Now imagine that nobody sees any of that. And I think that is a nice summary of all the things coming out of poets' hearts. And perhaps no one sees that, but actually they do when they read the poems. Liberated by poetry, Eunice Peary. Once trapped in trauma, consumed by fear and uncertainty, poetry found me. I found poetry. We found each other. And that is how I'll conclude my presentation. Poetry found me. I found poetry. We found each other. Thank you, everybody, and thank you again, Heidi, and definitely thank you for the beautiful performance.
Thank you very much. It's a bit more about the program. You've obviously, behind me, you can see we've done that first bit on the top, Patricia and myself. We're going to move now into the kind of next chunk, the middle meat of the program. We're going to have 3 people who are introduced shortly. We're going to each take us through a theme, say a few words about a theme, and then introduce the poets who are going to be sharing their poems under that particular theme. In the middle, Lodi Paul will return after, I think, Angela will return and perform something that he's written especially for this occasion. And then we'll round off with Kerry. That's the next little while. Just to say something about the 3 chairs, friends, colleagues, dear, wonderful people who've agreed to do this. I think I coerced them all, or they all owe me favors. Or all of that, I think. But they all gladly said yes. Angela Huff is a member of the consortium, as I said. She's also a therapist. She does visual art. She's a poet. And uses all of those spaces to create meaningful dialogue and to heal. Abigail Dreyer, who we're going to start off with, works in the space in the context of rural health and medical education. And she kind of introduced us to something which we hadn't quite heard of before, which was how to use 55 words. So she gets medical students who I think are very intelligent but actually can't write very much. But she gets them to write reflections on their work using 55 words. And so she brings a lot of creative expression, I think, to her work in rural health and medical education. And Kerry Frizzell is also in education and uses, I think, poetic inquiry in quite interesting ways to make what's visible, to throw a spotlight on the lives of queer youth in and out of schools by using poetic inquiry to help tell those stories. So we're really lucky to have all 3 of you join us today and to chair these sessions. I'm going to sneak back into the front row, and we'll start with Abby and then knock on to the others.
I've got poetry is knowing. Poetry is knowing through our bodies. A dance of words, a symphony of senses. It is the language of the heart. It's not just an intellectual pursuit, but a visceral experience, a truth to be pursued, expressing what cannot be expressed. And in the rhythm of the lines, we feel the pulse of life, the beating of time. We feel the beat of life, that ebb and flows of emotions, highs and lows of existence. The words resonate within our bones, stirring emotions, awakening what's unknown. And through this imagery and metaphors, we see the world anew. We taste the flavors, touch the textures, see the colors that become so vibrant, and we hear the sounds. These textures are more palatable. As poetry transports us to different grounds. And so the words on the page become a physical sensation, a tingling of the skin. They touch our skin, caress our souls, and a heart's palpitation. They evoke sensations, memories, desires, igniting a fire within, setting our souls on fire, and awakening our innermost desires. And yet, in the silence between the verse, we hear the whispers of the universe. Mm-hmm. The language of the body, the wisdom it imparts, the secrets of the cosmos. the poetry is not just a mental exercise, but a physical experience. And so, through the poetry and knowing ourselves through our bodies, we connect. It's not just about understanding with the mind, but feeling and experiencing and leaving no part behind. For this theme, we've got 3 online guests, Victoria Ekpo, and just to, we can verify that they are there. Victoria is a writer, a poet, a lecturer in education at Edgefield University in the UK. Our second poet is Sandra Filippili, who is completing a PhD in language and literacy education at the University of British Columbia in Canada. And our third poet, Trelawney Naidu, is a poet and storyteller, and her first poetry collection is is Wild, Has Roots. She is a PhD candidate at UWC in South Africa. So for our 3 online guests, we're going to start off with Victoria and then go into Sandra and end off with Trelawney. Please go ahead. Sandra, Victoria.
Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. And it is an absolute pleasure to be here, even though remotely. So hello to everyone from our holiday place in Croatia. And I'm so glad we managed to get here in time for me to set up and join. So it's amazing that the poem I chose to read is titled A Gathering, and it is more a gift to that amazing conference and everyone that was there. A gathering. What would you call a gathering of poets? A band, a babble, a bench, a blush, a bevy, or a boast? Some are boys, some are girls, some are noisy, some not. Some are judges, barbers, bishops, soldiers, doctors, teachers, actors, horsemen, lawyers, men. If there were a syndicate, maybe they are a syndicate, a quiz, a shrivelish slate. They may rage, but not all of them are maidens. Some are superfluous, but not all nuns. If they were French, we'd call them a peck. Some are English, maybe a pound. But the Irish will argue, we are a pint. And what would we do for the rest of us? A melody, if they all harped. A poverty, if they all piped. A fagot or roll, if they all drummed. A meter for the percussionist. We see them in iams, rhymes, and obscurities. But I prefer melody, as in messengers, or a worship, as for writers, a talent for the gamble they take with their words, but most of all, an illusion for the magic that they bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Sandra.
I have 6 haiku. 3 are from a reflection on an art exhibit at the University of British Columbia, A Future for Memory, Art and Life After the Great East Japan Earthquake. That was the tsunami. The Great Tsunami, seniors fell into the sea while drinking their tea. The Great Tsunami, seniors fell into the sea while drinking their tea. The irradiated blue Mitsuyo petals birthing in lagoons. Irradiated blue Mitsuyo petals birthing in lagoons. Blue Mitsuyo, tsunami orphan blossoms, lovers in a vase. Oh, excuse the truck. Blue Mitsuyo, Blue Mitsuyo, tsunami orphan blossoms, lovers in a vase. The tadpoles leapfrog onto land, their eyes bulging with joy. The tadpoles leapfrog onto the land, their eyes bulging with sheer infant joy. Under the leaky cave roof, I meditated. Skylight trickled in. Under the leaky cave roof, I meditated. Skylight trickled in. Sunset's golden light blinds me. I look without eyes, now a masked seer. Sunset's golden light blinds me. I look without eyes, now a masked seer. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Oops. Just before we go on to the last poet, those who aren't speaking, could you possibly just check that your mics are muted, because we're getting a little bit of interference. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I feel like I'm in a chamber.
We can hear you.
So I've got two poems that I'm going to be doing to the accompaniment of Alice Coltrane. I'm not sure if you can hear her in the background. Journey in Satchidananda. Inhale, exhale. I'm meditating music. Inhaling keys, exhaling the trumpet's O. Inhale, exhale. The smile of an old sunset guitar strumming my chakras alive. Inhale. Drum roll scattering diamond light on notes swirling in space and time. Exhale. Between my brows, double bass solace, spine rising on brassy highs. Inhale. Exhale. I'm meditating joy. I'm meditating music. I'm meditating jazz. Jazz smiles on the tops of trees. She feeds chords to hungry ears. A stray nod betrays calm. Ankles and feet, they stir. And hips, they sway. She has her way. Jazz has her way sway. Her way sway play. Her way sway sachet. This is the way. You and I, we pray.
Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Angela, who's taking us through the next theme.
Wonderful. Can I just ask any participants who are online to just mute your, not the ones who are going to speak as poets, but the people listening in, just to mute your mics, please. So for a moment, I'd like you all in the room and online to take a moment of silence. So silence can often be a privilege, the privilege of inner peace and joy but being silenced is most certainly not a privilege. So voices that are silenced, the invisible, those that we don't hear. That is the role of the poet and our poet researchers, to make visible, to listen to the whispers, to hear the voices of the non-dominant narratives. So this theme was the main theme of the conference, and we really are focusing here on a conversation between three poets, but I think broader, to hear people, their humanness, to hear their experiences on the edges of dominant narratives, to hear and make visible unfair exclusions, to listen to the spaces between, to the voices that emerge, to allow us to think and see and be in new ways. And I think that for the poets, this ethical responsibility for justice is to make visible what is less obvious, to consider what is just a whisper and make it a little bit louder, and to consider what this means for our world. So we have three wonderful poets. I'd love to introduce them first, and then for you to listen as if it's a conversation between them. So we have Chris Ferndale, who has been writing for 30 years. He's the founder of the Cape Cultural Collective. He's here with us in the room. He's been part of our workshops and an amazing contributor. Then Laura Apple, who is in the States and has her book Poetry and Poetic Inquiry and Rwanda, and focuses on arts-based inquiry as a therapeutic means for writing in response to trauma. And she writes, well, I'll tell you what they're going to write in a moment. And then Vunani Bela, who is the founding editor of Timbila Poetry Journal. He's also the publisher of Timbila Books and the founder of the Timbila Writers Village, which is a retreat place for writers in Limpopo, South Africa. So I think what's really important about these three poets and poems is that they talk a lot about the pain of being human, the pain of poverty, of loss of a child, of HIV, of difficult diagnoses. So I'd love you to listen as a conversation and to hear what we don't normally easily talk about. Chris, may I welcome you up?
They laid a carpet bombing strategy for a war constructed in a leader's head. Now, thousands are dead. Collateral victims of a war waged in someone's head. They laid a bloody red crimson carpet for leaders negotiating life and death. They made pronouncements of condemnation, voted for and against actions, produced documents, and made public statements under a white and a blue flag. As the rescue time dragged, while missiles blasted away schools, hospitals, buildings, infrastructure, communities, and many, many more lives. There's a race for safety across borders far away. Maybe they will gain their freedom someday. But burnt skin, broken bodies, scarred lives can't easily be mended from the imprints of an unjust war. Memories can't be wiped out like dirt on a bloody red floor. They remain like bullet holes through vehicles, doors, and walls. Scars of wars can't be mended. They age with victims as memorials commemorated of communities and souls obliterated. Scars of war can't be undone with the destruction of the tanks and the guns. These memories are imprints on our bloody skins and souls of communities attempting to be whole. Whoremongers and fools may have romantic notions until the bullets rip through their skins and guts. Propaganda can cause wars. Don't let the tanks come knocking through your romantic doors. War cries will be crushed with time and death, the leveler, our ultimate end. The rhythm of war is harsh. The destructive sounds of death cries eerie. There's never permanent victory for the protagonist or the antagonist. As time and death of theories level all. Sad notes of a lute, a flute, a guitar, weary words of a song of Malika, floating through the war dust and smog, a weary body dancing in the smoke, pieces of a beautiful painting, a family photograph, a picture, may bring a sad smile in the deathly aftermath of a scorched, ravaged community. Rebuilding always starts with creative ideas of the undervalued art of culture, the songs, the lutes, the flutes, the guitar, nurturing peace and tranquility in the harshness of our reality. We are all ditched in these wars of scorched earth and damnation, wars of ultimate obliteration. Families, women, children, men separated. Wars of destruction and separation. A war of power, a war of testosterone. Someone is waging a war in his head. People of Palestine, Syria, Yemen, Congo, Ukraine, bombs blasting death, humans dying in vain. Someone is waging a war in his head. And our freedom is dead. Someone is waging a war in his head. Thank you.
Laura, welcoming you online. Thank you.
I just want to start by being grateful to the technology people who are having to do this yeoman's work of bringing people from around the world into conversation with people in a room. I'm so grateful to get to be part of this today. So thanks for that. The silence that I'm talking about today is the silence surrounding suicide and grieving the loss of suicide. I lost my 26-year-old daughter to suicide and afterwards wrote poetry for a year as a therapeutic process. The book that came out of it was titled A Fine Yellow Dust, and it gave voice to my own grief and broke some of the silence that I experienced surrounding suicide. So I've chosen to read a poem from that collection entitled Sea Glass. And in this poem, I've taken phrases that my daughter Hannah said to me in the days preceding her death, and also the questions that I found myself repeating over and over and over, and saw them as sea glass that just kept being ground into finer and finer pieces. So you'll hear a lot of repetition, and you'll hear Hannah's voice in the poem. Sea glass. The incoming tide is relentless. At my feet, white foam, bits of glass worn smooth. I thought she would be okay. She was buying a house. Hey, Mama Bear, I've got it arranged. I'm looking at properties Friday. The sea's glass is broken and broken and broken and tossed. Brown, green, white, blue, aquamarine. She said she would be okay. I'm looking at properties Friday, studied reviews and ordered a Smith & Wesson online. Sea glass polished by currents. I've got it arranged. I was in Holland. She was buying a house. Did they do a background check? I said I could bring shoes for her from my trip. Let me know the size. It might be too late, but I'm a 10.5. She studied reviews, purchased a Smith & Wesson, and found homes for her cats. I'm looking at properties Friday. It might be too late. Sea glass the size of teeth. The tide holds more than enough. Why didn't she answer my calls? We can talk later. I've got it arranged. She was approved for a mortgage when she bought a Smith & Wesson. Did they do a background check? I'm a 10.5. We can talk later. I'm looking at properties Friday. Impossible occurrence. I was away. She stayed home from work, wrote a last note in her journal. This was ridiculously easy. It might be too late. Why didn't she call? How relentless this thunder of ocean, glass ground to milk teeth, the tide coming in. We can talk later. Ridiculously easy. I've got it arranged. I was away. She left a note, made plans for her cats, phoned her friends to say goodbye. Didn't she tell me she'd be okay? Arranged. Easy. I'm too late. Friday. Broken glass in the tides. We can talk later, Mama Bear.
Thank you, Laura, for sharing your vulnerability. And another conversation between a mother and a son. Bonani.
Thank you so much. Yes, greetings from the far northern part of South Africa, Limpopo. Yes, I'm so grateful to be part of this August book launch. The poem is called The Return. And of course, it's a conversation between the mother and the son who's just returned from prison. When you finally return, Mommy will ask, where have you been, my son, my innocent son? Inside the red hole, Mama, my dear one. And what have you been doing in the red hole, my son, my innocent son? Singing songs of sorrow and longing, dressed in orange overalls, Mama, my dear one. Why is there a monkey upon your back, my son, my innocent son? Because I doused the shack with petrol, Mama, my dear one. Why are your eyes bloodshot, my son, my innocent son? Because I killed a beautiful bitch, Mama, my dear one. Why did you kill your future wife, my son, my wretched son? Because she dilly-dallied with men with bling-bling and fast cars, Mama, my dear one. What now of you? Where will you go, my son, my wretched son? I'm back home to die, to rest in my grave, Mama, my dear one. What now of you? Where will you go, my son, my wretched son? I'm back home to die, to rest in my grave, Mama, my dear one. Why do you look so old and hopeless, my son, my wretched son? The stupid doctors say I have HIV, AIDS, and TB, Mama, my dear one. Who gave you HIV, AIDS, and TB, my son, my wretched son? Golo Golo Nongoloza Omnyama abused me without a condom, Mama, my dear one. Who is Nongoloza Omnyama, my son, my wretched son? The evil genius predator who turns every prisoner around, Mama, my dear one. What will you do if you meet Nongoloza in town, my son, my wretched son? I will stab his heart, slice his balls. I will eat his raw heart and balls, Mama, my dear one. What will you do with his dead body, my son, my wretched son? I will cut his head off with a handsaw, fling his body down the cliff, Mama, my dear one. What will happen to Gologolo's dead body down the cliff, my son, my wretched son? It will be devoured by jackals and vultures, Mama, my dear one.
Thank you, Bonani. And so these beautiful poems, just so to link back to the book, They Laid a Carpet, page Sea Glass, page 29, and The Return, page 35. And now to welcome Lodi Paul back. Thank you.
I'd like to say that I'm so honored to be here. When Malika told me about this, she explained to me slowly what the book is about, what led to it. You know, Malika being a poet, when she likes something and she loves something, she explains it to you, a place or a person, you end up feeling like you've been there or you know that person. So I went home very inspired, and there came a song. You know, you can relate to this probably when you sometimes you want to write a song or a poem, and words don't come to you. You work hard and nothing happens. And other times you just driving and or you know taking a shower and words just fall, you know, into your hands. And that's how I felt about this this song. Just came to me. And I would like to. Every time I talk to you, I can hear a song or two that you've carried all along in you. World, if I find a time to listen to the song inside of you, so you have to sing along until your voice can be heard beyond the walls of your home. Every time I talk to you, I can hear a song or two that you've carried all along in you. World, if I find the time to listen to the song inside of you, so you have to sing along until your word can be heard beyond the walls of your home. Unana mulili ngekeseni maloba na yo etonga mboka. Ebatela bolingo zala mwinda na kati ya molili maloba na yo ekweisa mbula. got to let your voice be heard and let the wind spread it far beyond your world. Nana molili ekeseni maloba na yo etonga mboka. Ebatela bolingo zala mwinda na kati ya molili maloba na yo ekweyisa mbula. Every time I talk to you, I can hear a song.
Very much, Lottie. It's wonderful. Hi, everyone. So we are now in the third theme, but I was just thinking, listening, how poems don't really want to be categorized, do they? They kind of feel like they're squishing out of the other two and into this third one. So this theme brings together multiple viewpoints and experiences of poetry in, as, for learning across various contexts. And having read this collection, it reminds me of Bell Hook's insistence that the most powerful kind of learning is the one that's mediated by eros. And it's when our mind and body feel and know desire. And when eros is missing, we are closed down. As Freire argues, we are anesthetized. When eros is present, we are invited, as Freire says, to expand, to transcend ourselves, to be activated. So I'm going to now call on three incredible poets. We're hoping Ongezwe is here. She may not be, but we'll cope. And so I'll just introduce the three poets. Nicole Brown is the Director of Social Research and Practice in Education and is an Associate Professor at the University at UCL UK. Sulika Sheikh is a poet and yogi in the Netherlands, and Ongezwe Mbeli is a poet, storyteller, theatre maker, and researcher. And she is currently a drama and performance lecturer at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. So I'd like to hand over to, let's start with Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read to you an academic lament, a villanelle. An academic lament. Academia's a lonely place for us hamsters in the wheel, spin, spin, spinning in this rat race. Chasing promotions to face precarity with a heart of steel, academia's a lonely place. You depend on others' grace to overcome rejection, to heal. Spin, spin, spinning in this rat race. Successes are hard to trace on your own. It feels academia's a lonely place. We are trapped to compete, to brave face the loneliness we feel. Spin, spin, spinning in this rat race. And so we hamsters continue to pace the bars of the academic cage and wheel.
Zuleika, if you can go. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while. I want to maybe say that my name is Zuleika Bibi Sheikh. I want to say it loud and proud, and I come from Chatsworth in KwaZulu-Natal, and I'm based in the Netherlands at Utrecht University at the moment. The poem I'm going to read to you today has come from conversations that I've had with Ongezwa about the presentation that we were going to do at the conference last year. Our poetry has no method, no systematic organization of knowing. It is uncontrollable, untamable, unrelenting. It visits us in dreams, haunting us by day, until we siphon from flesh the unfinished words of generations of loss. We bleed them onto paper, staunching the flow. In hemostasis, we quieten in the face of pain, allowing words to congeal, thickening our skins. Without care for our wounds, inflammation grows. The anger inflicted traps us as we seek salvation in the assailant's original sin. Infection rages as we itch and scratch and peel inside our own bodies. Septic, we lie burning in feverish sweats. Swollen and raw, we wait. A proliferation of voices shatters the silence as lines become the thread sealing the wound, reconnecting flesh to spirit and land, a re-existence. The wound allows life to enter, whispering to our deadened insides, reviving our lost parts to knowledges still breathing in the flesh. Our poetry has no method of healing, of knowing. It is the uncontrollable, untamable, unrelenting flow of life, moving through the porous borders of flesh and land, land and sea, sea and flesh. Our poetry is the ukubonga of generations past. Only the poem knows the healing of its birth. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
As God.
Good morning. Good evening. That's Garth. That's not Garth. And then, sorry, Ongezwa, thank you. We're very glad to see that you were here. So we'll hand over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity and this moment to just publish with just fabulous poets and just, just to think about the conference and reflect and see the outcome. But I'll start with a saying from my mother's language, my mother's tongue, andihambi ndodwa, meaning I don't walk alone, I walk with many. And so here I'm at the HSRC. I'm with Garth from the HSRC and Marilyn from the HSRC. And then I've got Zainab, who's one of the authors and poets who's also published in the book, and Deborah. So andihambi ndodwa, I walk with many and I stand with many. Here's the poem. The ocean and earth are my teachers. My teachers of humanity have been this earth and its waters. I have met our humanity that we dream about at the sight of the ocean. Its abundance and grandeur flowing with ease, moving all the seas in me. Its ambient noise, whispering that we are enough and are in rhythm with its movement. I have met our humanity in people's rituals with water. the surfers riding the waves and Zionist church members praying in tongues with depth as the sun rays caress the waters in the morning. The ocean teaches me that abundance and depth of love exist even in this scarcity culture, when it kisses the shore, only to surrender to being pulled back to its center. Can't contain the ocean. It's wild and free. You can't bar the ocean like you bar land. You can't claim it, but it will claim you. You can't hold the ocean, but it will hold you whether you are inside it or outside of it. The ocean with its clear waters that reflect blue or gray skies are gentle reminders that we are each other's reflections as we figure this journey of life on this earth. This earth rotates on its axis day and night while we move on it, held upright by gravity. Our bodies and spine know at its core the warmth and assurance of being held upright by gravity. To jump up and down only to land firm on the ground, to rise and fall. Trees stand still rooted to the ground, while leaves and branches dance to the howling wind. Stillness and movement on this are this earth's offering to us as we maneuver this pandemic. The intricacy and magic of this rhythm of life is when we breathe out our devotion to the tree and plants for their existence, only to be gifted back with oxygen. So when you feel lost, walk this earth. You will see the shades of your skin on the various colors of this earth. You will find yourself on this earth as it nurtures you into being. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for some really beautiful, powerful poetry. And I'll hand over to Hedy.
So, wow, we kind of are nearing the end. I'm going to just maybe ask for a little quick exercise. Those of you that are in the room that have a poem and that you haven't had a chance to read because we couldn't ask all of you to read, you want to just shout out the page number. Anyone in the room, page number. Those online, get your page numbers ready. Did we have everyone in this room read? Bridget, no page number for you. Bridget Prince? 28. 28, wonderful. Anyone else in this room? Poetry bingo. Okay, too slow in the room. Let's 115. Let's go to online. Anyone want to shout out their page number? Where's your poem? What page? Anyone? Contributor?
75.
75. Well done. You win 75 Rand. Can't get you anything. You win it. Anyone else online? What's your page number?
26.
36. Well done. And one more. That's it. All of those are just family and friends. Thanks very much for joining us. So we come to the end. We're going to close out with a little 3-minute video. So just hang in there with us. 3-minute video from the next International Symposium on Poetic Inquiry is going to be in New Zealand. So a word of encouragement.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko Sarah Penwarden tōku ingoa, tēnā tātou katoa. Welcome everyone. My name's Sarah Penwarden, and I'm one of the organisers of the International Symposium of Poetic Inquiry, which is going to be held in Auckland in 2024 in spring.
Kia ora everyone, my name is Adrian Schoon and I'm really pleased to be helping coordinate the symposium with Sarah along with Deborah Green and Esther Fitzpatrick. So we're thrilled that the next symposium will be held in Aotearoa, New Zealand, the first time it's come way down under. And you know, we've charted its journey from you know, the Northern Hemisphere, from Canada over to the UK, to the US, back to Canada perhaps, and then down to South Africa. So we're looking forward to seeing you here in New Zealand.
So we're wanting to provide a warm welcome to poetic inquirers and scholars, a gathering place for people who like to use poetry to reflect on human experience, and then to make meaning of this through inquiry. So our theme for the symposium is connecting together as a community to craft and create words and worlds. And we're interested in the two meanings of craft, both to make something and also the craft of writing poetry. As well as focusing on crafting and creating, we're focusing on community and how together we can tune our voices in with others to tell our stories.
So we're inviting abstracts for either 15-minute paper presentations or 40-minute word crafting workshops. And we're also encouraging people to present together as a group or in a pair, like Sarah and I are doing at the moment. People can present in person or also online via Zoom. So we'll be sending out a reminder about our call for papers around the at about the due at the end of August, which is due at the end of August. And the email address for your 200 word proposal is ispi2024@gmail.com. That's ispi2024@gmail.com. So we really look forward to seeing you along with us.
Yeah. Tēnā tātou katoa. See you there. Bye.
See you.
So see you there. Ungeswa said it well, we never walk alone. We never walk alone. And putting something of this kind of size and magnitude together requires a lot of really willing hearts and minds and hands. I'm going to say a few words of thanks, and then I'll say some things, I'm sure, questions about the book and where you could get it if you don't have a copy in front of you. So firstly, just a big thank you to the two of you for really grounding us, opening up the space, Malika and Lodi. Really just incredible. I think for many of us who were in the room, a sense of being transported back to that place, and for those who weren't, feeling like they lost out, and they did. And all because of you. So thank you very, very much. To the consortium members, thank you so much. It's always an honor doing this work with you. For our three chairs, thank you very much for the thoughtful way in which you handle that particular task. We want to also thank the HSRC for the funds which ensured that the book could be published, and the very, very many wonderful people in the HSRC. I'm in the HSRC close to 20 years, and I think the thing that gives me longevity in the HSRC is not SCM and our horrible bureaucratic procedures. It is the people. And I'm really grateful for the many people that I work with. Samantha Kurt, who is maybe online but not here, really held quite a lot of the administrative work around the conference and around this particular publication. Marilyn Couch has taken over those admin duties from her. And then the really special, incredible IT support. Just a big hands up for that team. To have to do this, all of this reasonably seamlessly. There were kind of few anxious eyes. You know, people would say, go to that, check that, that kind of stuff. You know, the sound is right, the blah, blah, blah. But actually, it worked pretty seamlessly. And so a huge, wonderful, wonderful thank you for connecting us all. And a big thank you to you, Tony, for your endless vision and energy and desire to always work along with me in these creative projects. Thank you. Thank you, team at the back. We appreciate it. I want to say a special word of thanks just to Patricia from Africa Sun Press as we end. You've been an absolute pleasure to work with, Patricia. Meticulous, creative, thoughtful. You've been patient and consistent in really just ensuring that this anthology came together in a reasonably short period of time. Thanks to Galen Pinnock from Polygram for the design and layout. You have to admit, it's probably the most magnificent book you'll ever see. It is the most magnificent book I have ever seen. And so we thank you very much for that. Thank you, all of you, for turning up. If I've left anyone out, please forgive me. Just raise your hand. I think I've thanked everyone. Thank you to all the contributors, those of you who read today. Just a couple of words about where to get the book. Well, you could have bought the book tonight, but the gadget wasn't working. So if you'd like a book, please take a book. Give us your details. We'll figure out how to get it. Somebody said, just like send your bank account detail and we'll deposit the money. This is the HSRC. That is not a simple action. We cannot do that. Take your money. So we'll figure it out. We'll get back to you. But please take the book. We'll figure out the rest a little later. There's a launch of the book in Durban this week, Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Durban International Book Festival at Suncoast Casino. If you're interested, contact Marilyn and she will link you to that. It's wonderful having that group in Durban, 5 of them sitting around with Garth joining us from there. All contributors have received a soft copy, email copy. That's what they were shouting out their numbers or pages from. So they've all got that. Those of you contributors attending the launch, of course, get a free copy. Also, the consortium members, Bridget, will get a free copy. Those of you inside South Africa will figure out how to get it to you. Those of you outside South Africa, this is a problem of mammoth proportions. Our postal system is... If you see, it does not work, doesn't work. So we're going to have to figure out how to get it to you, but we really are committed to getting you a copy of this quite beautiful book. We'll figure it out. We are exploring with our bureaucratic systems whether we can get the book up on Amazon. It was a very fun conversation. I cannot repeat it to you in this room because I'll be fired. But there's a process underway for us to get this book up on Amazon, and you could buy it if you wanted. I think those are all the things I wanted to make. Thank you for joining us. It's the middle of the week. It's always many other things to do. Netflix is calling our attention. Thank you for letting it go for one night and for joining us. There's still some food for those of you that are here. For those of you that are at home, sort yourself out. But thank you very much for joining us. Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.